everyone, this is Yael with the weekly message of the Divine Feminine for her beloved for the week of April 24 to May 1st. Okay, and we're using the Tarot of the Trees, and I like this deck. I don't know why Spirit asked me to use this. I went through all the decks because the depictions in here are very simple, but let's see what message the Divine Feminine has for her beloved this week. Okay, so as always, I've already prayed over the cards and shuffled them, and at the bottom of the deck here we have the Ace of Pentacles. So the energies relate to, again, a new beginning, a different phase. Because, you know, with twin flames, you've been through several lifetimes together, and this is another phase. And here we have the Judgment card, and we see here new life sprouting from the earth, and it being nourished. And before that new life had to sprout, the acorn had to break open, and this is symbolic of the pain. We've all been through that, having broken spirits, broken hearts, and a total shattering of what you knew, what was familiar to you before. You see the acorn here. If you've held an acorn, it's very hard. It's very hard to shatter. And yet it did, because of circumstances, it did. But out of that, new life has sprouted. And this is destined. Okay? So again, new beginning in that new life. And establishing it in the physical. We have the Four of Pentacles there. And part of because here we have the Seven of Swords, so what precipitated that is a grounding of all the negative energies. I know in other decks the Seven of Swords is read differently, but here we have the pointed tips of the swords grounded into the earth. And this is during fall or autumn. So again, in preparation for that new chapter, a grounding of all the negativity, and a period of waiting, because the inverted is the Hanged Man, assessment of the work done until we reach the Ten of Pentacles, which you can see the forest, the coins, very earthy, the manifestation of everything that you've worked hard for. You can see it there in all its glory. It's a panorama now. It's not just, something that you have to look closely through a microscope like the acorn, because here it's seen. Okay, so anyway, those are the general energies. Okay, so the first card we have is the Queen of Pentacles. And recently, because we are in a period wherein the Divine Feminine, she's usually depicted as the Queen of Pentacles. I think even in the message of the Divine Masculine, she was the Queen of Coins then. So here we have, again, the Queen of Pentacles depicting the Divine Feminine. And here you see the tree. The tree is fashioned like an ark, and it's protecting this pentacle from the harsh weather. So again, very nurturing, very protective of what they have. The next card we have is the Five of Cups, and the Five of Cups speaks of regret, disappointment. You can see the branches here, they're splintered, they've broken off, and before the branches we're holding cups and the water there has spilled. However, with this particular tree, and you can see its trunk is thick and strong, it's holding up the two remaining cups. And these are the fruits of this tree, so to speak. While the others, what has gone on before, are sort of laid to waste. The Divine Feminine acknowledges and holds up in high regard what remains. Okay, and the next card we have, okay, very good. In the middle of the spread, we have the Four of Wands. And here, you can see, this is the solidifying the twin flame relationship, because this is 11, 11, okay? And you can see here, the trees are standing sturdy, they're upright, and the tips of the trees, they're pointing to the heavens, while the thick tree trunks signify very well grounded roots. So this is a firm foundation, establishing something above the earth, but not just being earthy, but also being connected to the heavens. And the next card we have is the Knight of Cups. And here, the Knight of Cups, usually there's either somebody offering love. You can see depictions of knights on their horses, on their steeds. However, here in this particular deck, it's different because you're working with trees. There are no people here in this deck. Instead, we have a tree that is almost pliant, bending. You can see its form there. But it is in a position, even the cup, it is in a position of receiving. So this speaks about the Divine Feminine's surrender, waiting for this cup to be filled and being pliant and flexible in the meantime. Okay? And the last card we have is the Knight of Pentacles. And again, in other decks, Knight of Pentacles signified by a knight on a horse. And it depends on the deck, because sometimes the horse depicts movement, sometimes it doesn't. But here, the trees are bare. It's almost in the middle of winter. And this pentacle is on an icy road. But the trees are still there to support it. And here, the pentacle signifies the Divine Masculine. And that although, because the roads are slippery, they're icy, and as a consequence, the Divine Masculine needs to tread carefully and lightly. He can't go as fast as he can. And yet, through all this, through his journey, through this corridor, okay, at this period of his life, the Divine Feminine makes herself available as a sort of canopy for the journey of her beloved. She's there on the sidelines, offering support, offering some sort of cover. Okay? And let's see so right now, what the Divine Feminine is saying is basically her message also for last week. that she's holding space for him to return, and that she's supporting the divine masculine during this journey. And she is aware that he has to tread carefully, because if he goes too fast, it's risky. And what the divine feminine wants to build with her beloved is this Four of Wands that is in the middle of the spread. Sturdy foundations, connection to the divine, okay? And here we have an acknowledgement of the divine feminine, of the Two of Cups, that despite the disappointments from past interactions, things that happened before, wherein either both parties were still being driven by ego, or still didn't have a clear connection to the divine or to the guidance of their higher selves. That's been transcended. That's why the branches of the tree that are holding the cups rise above all these branches that have fallen. Okay, so let's pick clarifying cards for these. Okay. Oops, sorry. I keep moving the camera. Okay, for the Queen of Pentacles, this is delay, retard, okay? Delay. You see this wheel here, it's not moving because it got wedged in the middle of two mountains, almost like a valley. Okay, so what this is saying is what I said earlier in the Twin Flame Weekly reading, that some of the divine feminines are still procrastinating when it comes to manifesting their own abundance. So you have to get moving, because this is where you want to be. For some of you, this is where you still are. And actually, that's what happened to me before I started this, my mission. I was given guidance that I already knew how to read the cards then, and even professionally, I do give advice and all that, but I wasn't doing it in the context of helping other twins. Reading cards was merely a hobby. But then again, I was told that my not acting, my not using or developing the gifts that I was given, was actually delaying the manifestation of union between me and my twin. So I hopped right on it. You do what you have to do, right? So that's what Spirit is saying. So for those of you who still aren't on the bandwagon of manifesting your abundance, then please get a move on it. Okay, so for the Five of Cups, okay, so here again, so this is because most of the Divine Feminine Collective are fairly stable. What we get mostly this for the weekly message, it's like this is the message of the Divine Feminine, and then Spirit gives tips to the Divine Feminine, because here this is saying that some of the Divine Feminine Collective are still trapped in this energy of crying about the past, regretting the past, being disappointed. And again, that's just delaying union. Okay, for the Four of Wands, love. I think that's pretty much self-explanatory. That when both twins come into union, that's the embodiment of love in 3D. So what we have to do is bring down, you love each other so much in 5D, through all dimensions actually. But except that since 3D is very dense, there needs to be some tweaking to bring that down into this type of dimension. Okay? But there you have it, love. For the Knight of Cups, okay. Still the same as last week. But this is because this is inconstancy. So there are some days that you're surrendered. There are some days when you're actually belligerent and stubborn and asking the universe, why hasn't it happened yet? Or, you know, sometimes even projecting anger towards your divine masculines. How could he do that? Why is he so slow? And believe me, even I've gone through that. But that's the cycle. It goes in waves. What is important is that you keep calm and get back to being stabilized in 5D. Okay, that's why we have tools. That's why we are learning how to transmute the energy that's brought in. So if the energy of your vibration fluctuates, and instead of surrender, there is resentment, because there is no resentment in surrender. So the minute you feel a bit resentful about maybe how long he's taking, how he hasn't resolved it yet, then that's a red flag. That's telling you that that's something you need to transmute to get back to the higher energy level. Okay, and for the Knight of Pentacles, okay, wisdom. So what this is saying is that while the divine feminines have been waiting for their divine masculines, they've come into their own wisdom. So it is not a futile exercise or an exercise in futility, all this waiting, because there's a purpose to it. Sometimes if you get things too fast, you don't value it because it comes so easily. But for most of the divine feminines, you know the challenges, the hardships that you've gone through for this relationship. And that's brought you into wisdom. That's given you access. It's like the key to ascension, to higher learning, higher consciousness. Okay? So that's what we have. As far as the message is concerned, the divine feminine is telling her beloved that she's holding space while continuing to nurture herself and the relationship, that despite all the disappointments, she still holds the love that both of them have for each other in high regard, and that transcends all of the disappointments that's happened before. And she knows that their relationship is firmly rooted, firmly grounded, and also looking up towards the heavens. It's like offering it up to the divine. Okay? and that she is in a state of surrender, waiting for this cup to be filled. And while the divine masculine is treading lightly and carefully, because the terrain that he's on is rather slippery and risky, dangerous if he goes too fast, that she's providing a canopy of support for him. It's like overlooking whatever he's going through, making sure that he's okay. So as far as the message, that is it. For these clarifiers, these are the tips of spirit for the divine feminines who have not yet gotten to this level of energy. Okay, so again, for those who are delaying the manifestation of their abundance, get a move on it. For those who are stuck in the energy of loss, disappointment, you have to transmute that, because this is the center. This is why you're going through all of this, for love of your twin, for your twin flame union. And for those who are fluctuating in their surrender, again, they're tools. Very important to stabilize in 5D at this point in time. And Spirit is saying that all this waiting has not been an exercise in futility, because it was important for you to come into your wisdom. Okay, so that's what I have for the Divine Feminine's message to their beloveds this week. And on May 1 is Beltane. And it's very important to have done the prep work leading up to this. That's why Beltane is a celebration of fire and fertility. And that's why I was guided to give the RASHEEBA sessions for this period of time. And this is actually the last time you're going to see that RASHEEBA I add playing after the reading. Because that was to help the twins, especially those who are in the first waivers, prepare for you know, to wrap up their first mission and to get into the second mission. Okay, so for those who need support in that, who need to activate their divine light, their divine unions, to get into bliss with their new chakras, please do consider getting a RASHEEBA healing session, especially this week, because it's very timely in preparation for May 1st. And of course, I'll do my best to finish all those sessions before May 1st comes around. Okay, so that's what I have for you. Take care. Bye.